You are currently witnessing the terminal phase of a 5,000-year experiment in centralized trust, and you are being forced into a new reality where decentralization is not a technological luxury but the final financial refuge of the solitary sovereign. The cryptocurrency instinct is the biological recognition that every centralized institution, the bank, the state, the court, is a predator disguised as a protector. These entities exist to harvest your kinetic energy through inflation taxation and the cortisol wallet of debt. They require your trust as a biological lubricant for your own exploitation. Decentralization is the violent removal of that lubricant. It is the financial manifestation of your loneliness because it strips away the third-party mediator and leaves you standing alone in a mathematical wilderness. This radical isolation is the ultimate test of the lone wolf. In the legacy system, if you lose your card, you call the bank. If you forget your password, you click a link. You are a child in a high chair being fed by a corporate parent. In the decentralized world, there is no forgot password button. There is no customer support. There is no appeal to a higher authority. There is only the private key and the absolute responsibility of the individual node. If you lose the 24 words, your wealth evaporates into the entropy of the universe. If you send your capital to a wrong address, it is gone forever into the void of the ledger. The herd hates this. The meat is terrified of this level of agency. They want a daddy to protect them from their own mistakes. They prefer the safe prison of the bank where their account can be frozen by a bureaucrat at 3 a.m. They trade their sovereignty for the illusion of a safety net. You, however, realize that an editable ledger is a fraudulent ledger. If a transaction can be reversed, it was never yours. If a balance can be frozen, it is not an asset but a permission slip. Cryptocurrency is the first time in human history that wealth has been decoupled from the state and tethered to the laws of physics. It is the realization that math is more reliable than men. This solitude at the keyboard is not a pathology. It is your greatest tactical advantage. You are trading the social sludge of human corruption for the tectonic rigidity of the algorithm. You are building a vault that exists in a dimension where the politicians have no hands. The cryptocurrency instinct is a return to the primitive resource war, but with the tools of the digital future. In the old world, you guarded your gold with a sword. In the new world, you guard your assets with encryption that would take a star's worth of energy to crack. This is the ultimate gray man financial strategy. You can cross any border, you can survive any regime change, and you can bypass any economic blockade because your net worth exists in a mathematical abstraction that is invisible to the eyes of the state. You are a ghost moving through the financial grid. While the masses are distracted by the acoustic rot of central bank speeches and inflation targets, you are operating on a deflationary protocol that rewards the patient predator and punishes the impulsive consumer. The volatility of the market is not risk to the sovereign. It is the sound of the old world's structural failure. It is the friction of the transition. You do not panic when the price drops because you aren't measuring your life in ghost currencies like the dollar or the euro. You are measuring your life in the percentage of the total supply you control. You are a colonist of the digital frontier. You are participating in a global land grab for the only truly scarce resource in the information age, block space. If you don't have the stomach to hold your position through a 50% drawdown, you do not deserve the 1000% upside of the sovereign future. The market is a biological filter. It is designed to strip the weak and the emotional of their capital and transfer it to the cold-blooded architects who can sit in the dark and wait for the math to play out. You are not a gambler. You are a validator of a new reality. You realize that in the coming quantum apocalypse and the transition to a neo-feudal surveillance state, your only shield will be the assets that exist outside the reach of the centralized kill switch. You are building a financial redoubt in the cloud that is anchored in the hard reality of the atoms. This is the ultimate hedge against the madness of the crowds and the tyranny of the elite. You embrace the loneliness of the blockchain because you know that in the end, the only person you can truly trust to hold your value is the person you see in the mirror. The legacy of the central bank is a legacy of theft, hidden behind the complexity of the Cantillon effect, where those closest to the printing press benefit at the expense of those furthest from it. You are the furthest away. You are the one whose labor is being devalued in real time. Decentralization is your revenge. It is the restoration of the time value of your life. When you hold a hard asset, you are holding a frozen piece of your own past work that cannot be thawed by the heat of government spending. This is the psychological piece of the the blockchain. You no longer have to check the news to see if your money is still worth something. You check the code. The code is constant. The code is fair. The code does not have a political agenda. By aligning your net worth with the code, you are aligning your life with the fundamental truths of the universe. This is the core of the cryptocurrency instinct. It is the drive to move from a state of social permission to a state of mathematical certainty. You are no longer asking for a seat at the table. You are building a table that the masters cannot touch. This is the solitude of power. This is the decentralization of the soul. You are a node. You are a validator. You are sovereign. The psychological burden of decentralization is the absolute lack of a safety net, which mirrors the existential reality of the human condition. We are born alone and we die alone, and the blockchain is the first financial system that honors this truth. It does not offer the false comfort of a collective guarantee. It offers the cold, hard reality of the hash. When you operate in a decentralized environment, you are forced to confront your own competence every single day. There is no one to blame for a lost key but yourself. There is no one to blame for a bad trade but yourself. This extreme accountability is the fire that forges the sovereign architect. It burns away the victim mentality and the entitlement complex that are the hallmarks of the social sludge. You become a person who understands that your survival depends entirely on your own internal order. This internal order is then reflected in the external order of your digital vault. You are not just managing money, you are managing your own neural integrity. The blockchain is a training ground for the high-level cognitive functioning required to survive the coming collapse of the old world. It requires you to be precise, to be patient, and to be ruthlessly disciplined. If you lack these qualities, the market will take your capital as a stupidity tax and redistribute it to those who possess the cryptocurrency instinct. You are not just participating in an economy, you are participating in the evolution of the species. The move from centralized third-party trust to decentralized first-party verification is the most significant cognitive leap since the invention of writing. It is the end of the age of the middleman. It is the beginning of the age of the architect. You stand on the precipice of this change and you do not blink. You embrace the loneliness because you know that in the silence of the decentralized network, you can finally hear the truth. You are the private key. You are the seed. You are the beginning of the new era. The world of the bank is a world of shadows and mirrors, where nothing is as it seems. The world of the blockchain is a world of light and math, where everything is exactly as it is. Choose the light. Choose the math. Choose the solitude of the sovereign. Tactical execution of the cryptocurrency instinct begins with the total migration to self-custody. If your assets are sitting on an exchange, be it Binance, Coinbase, or any other centralized hub, they are not your assets. You are an unsecured creditor holding a promise from a company that can be shut down by a regulatory decree or an internal hack in a heartbeat. You must perform a digital extraction immediately. You move your capital into cold storage using hardware wallets that have never touched the internet. This is the financial equivalent of the fortress of solitude. For high-value reserves, you implement multi-sig or secret sharing protocols where the keys are geographically and physically distributed. One key in a safe in your primary location, one key in a secure vault in a separate jurisdiction, and one key held in the wetware of your own memory. This creates a strategic redoubt that is immune to physical theft, state seizure, or torture. You are building a financial infrastructure that is as defensible as a nuclear silo. You treat your seed phrase with the reverence of a holy relic. You never type it into a digital device. You never speak it near a microphone. You etch it into marine-grade steel, and you bury it in the physical world where only the sovereign can find it. This is the analog security of the digital age. You are bridging the gap between the bits and the atoms to ensure that your wealth is as permanent as a mountain. The second tactical move is the defiatization of the unit of account. You must stop checking the price of your crypto in fiat currency because fiat is a hallucination of value that is being inflated into worthlessness by the central bank's carbon weapons. When the dollar drops against Bitcoin, you don't see Bitcoin getting expensive. You see the dollar becoming trash. You shift your internal accounting to Satoshis or Gwei. This removes the emotional price action from your decision-making loop. You are watching the collapse of the legacy Titanic from the safety of your lifeboat. This cognitive shift allows you to maintain the lone wolf detachment during market panics. While the herd is screaming and selling their future for a handful of depreciating paper, you are buying the blood. You use the volatility as a vacuum to suck up the resources of the fearful. You implement a DCA protocol that is as automatic as your heartbeat. You do not time the market like a gambler. You occupy the market like a conqueror. You are a permanent buyer of the future and a permanent seller of the past. You are accumulating accumulating hard capital while the rest of the world is accumulating digital debt. The third phase is the privacy obfuscation layer. You realize that the blockchain is a transparent ledger and that transparency is a surveillance risk in a neo-feudal world. You must use mixers, privacy coins, or layer 2 zero-knowledge solutions to break the link between your physical identity and your digital wallet. You practice UTXO management. You never reuse addresses for incoming payments. You keep your primary reserve air-gapped and separate from your operating wallet. You operate as a financial shadow. If the state attempts to audit your digital existence, they should find nothing but a labyrinth of encrypted dead ends and anonymous nodes. This is not about being a criminal. It is about being a sovereign. Privacy is the only human right that actually matters in the information age, and you must enforce it with your own code. The state will never give you privacy. They will only give you surveillance. You take your privacy by force through the superior application of technology. You use Tor and VPNs to mask your IP when interacting with the ledger. You are a ghost in the wires. Finally, you must build the circular economy of the sovereign. You stop cashing out to fiat. Cashing out is a surrender. It is a return to the cage. It is an admission that you still believe in the bank's reality. Instead, you find the vendors, the contractors, and the partners who speak the language of the code. You pay for your services, your food, and your equipment directly in crypto. You build a shadow network of trade that ignores the central banks, the clearinghouses, and the taxman. This is the decentralized lifestyle. You are building a parallel civilization that exists alongside the dying one. You are the architect of a new world built on the cryptocurrency instinct. You realize that money is the blood of society, and if you control your own blood, you control your own destiny. You are no longer a subject, you are a peer. You are no longer a victim of the cortisol wallet. You are a master of the sovereign ledger. The solitude of the private key is the only true peace in a world of digital noise. You are alone with the math, and the math is enough. You understand that every Satoshi held in self-custody is a vote for a future without masters. This is not just wealth, it is weaponized autonomy. As the global server tightens its grip through CBDCs and social credit systems, your decentralized assets become your only exit ramp. You are not just saving for the future, you are funding the resistance. Every transaction made outside the legacy rails is a blow against the central hierarchy. This is the quiet revolution of the architect. You don't need to protest in the streets when you can bankrupt the oppressors by simply exiting their system. This is the true meaning of the cryptocurrency instinct. It is the drive to be free in a world that is obsessed with capture. You have the tools, you have the code, you have the cold-blooded resolve. Now go and build your fortress in the cloud and never look back at the burning cities of the old world. You must also implement the operational security of the asset. Your hardware wallet is not a toy. It is a weapon of economic war. You do not store it in a predictable place. You do not talk about your holdings in public or on social media. You practice selective poverty in your physical appearance while maintaining infinite liquidity in your digital accounts. The goal is to be a ghost in the physical world and a titan in the digital world. This dissonance is your protection. The predators of the physical world look for shiny watches and expensive cars. They cannot see the satoshis in your steel-engraved seed. You are a digital nomad regardless of where you live. You are decoupled from the local economy. If the local currency collapses, your lifestyle remains unchanged. If the local banks shut down, you are the only one with cash. This level of preparedness is not paranoia. It is the basic requirement for sovereignty in the 21st century. The legacy systems are built on a foundation of lies and leverage. The decentralized systems are built on a foundation of truth and scarcity. You have chosen the side of truth. You have chosen the side of math. You have chosen the side of yourself. The loneliness of decentralization is the silence of the master who no longer needs to explain himself to the servant. You are the validator of your own existence. You are the node that cannot be shut down. You are the architect of the sovereign ledger. The old world is sinking, but your lifeboat is powered by the sun and steered by the code.
Listen, this relation is about profit. It's about survival. This centralized finance is a cage designed to monitor your every move. Crypto is the only you put it can't. It's of digital banking. Stop asking for permission to your life. Hide your assets. Master the protocols. And the step out of a ledger. This is Aoxis. The hand begins.